Next, punish your lower self. Who's heard of this concept, right? We have a higher self and a lower self. Show of hands, who's heard these terms before? A couple people. We all have what's called a higher self and a lower self. I just whipped up the slide this morning because I was like, I don't really have a way of explaining this. This is just something I made up. So we have, at any given time, we can feel usually one of these two states. Courageous, resourceful, I believe in myself. I have the courage. I know that I can accomplish it if I try. All these, it's a resourceful state. If you feel that way, you're likely going to take better actions. You get a strategy from Will yesterday about doing a spreadsheet. You're more likely to execute it when you're in this state. But we also have a lower self. And depending on how much work you've done on yourself, this guy creeps up a lot. And we can go from one to the other in an instant. This line that I drew is like a razor's edge. It's like we can go from high confidence to low. You see the best athletes in the world doing this when they fall apart of the free throw line or something like that. And we can be and live in our lower selves, where we're fearful of everything. We're nervous, and all of our decisions come from a position of fear and avoiding pain. And how do I avoid the least, get out of this without being scathed? And we can live in this place of being in our lower selves. And when we're in our lower selves, we tend to make bad decisions. We tend to procrastinate. We tend to do things that are not leading us in the direction that we want to go. And it's kind of interesting because a lot of the cases, we've just always done that. We've just always gone into our lower selves without even realizing we've done it. And with just a quick switch in psychology, we can move into a higher self state of mind, a state of being, and make better decisions. Now, you have to have some techniques. You have to have the consciousness to know when you're in one or the other, and to decide, I'm in my lower self right now. I just did a launch and it didn't work. I'm worthless and I should quit my business. Or, okay, this happens to the best of them. Let's try again, right? Two different conversations that are happening in your head, and they can happen simultaneously. Which one do you want to buy? So what I say and what I suggest is to challenge your perceived limitations. So what I mean by this is we all have, just like that guy that I worked with at IBM, we all have these inner conversations, these inner limitations where we argue for our own limitations without even thinking about it. I'm not smart enough, or I don't have the capability to do it, or I can't overwork myself because I'll burn out. Whatever. Or, I went out, I remember, does anybody here read Wayne Dyer, the author? He used to have this belief that if he got like a little rattle in his chest, that he was going to get a chest infection and he'd need prescription medication to deal with it. And he caught himself one day just thinking that way. And then he went into his higher self and said, well, you know what? Maybe I'll just heal myself. Or maybe it won't come on. Maybe I won't get a chest infection. And they stopped and used to have these for years. It was just like this thought pattern he had. Oh, I'm feeling a little congested. I'm probably going to need prescription. I'm probably going to get really sick. And he would. And then he stopped assuming that, and he stopped. And we all do this. So start looking for areas in your life where you might have limitations on your thinking or beliefs about your ability to withstand stuff that may not be true. Challenge the truth of those things. One of the challenges that I've done is everybody heard, you need 8 hours sleep a night. You have to have 8 hours sleep, or if you don't, oh man, bad things are going to happen if you don't get 8 hours sleep a night. And then I had this thing called kids. And then I did this thing called quitting a 6-figure job to start a business with no plan. And so sleeping 8 hours a night just wasn't possible anymore. Kids getting up at night, no idea how I'm going to make some money. I got to work. I got to do some stuff right now. I can't sleep 8 hours a night. And so for me, for the last 5 or 6 years, I've been averaging 5 hours of sleep a night. And I just made up my mind along the way that that's enough. And quite honestly, I'm as healthy and energetic as I've ever been. My latest physical was my best one ever. And I don't know what your opinion is on this, on 8 hours, 5, whatever. For me, that was a limitation I used to buy into. I don't. It doesn't affect me anymore. Sleep 5 hours a night, full of energy. Sometimes I work out twice a day. 5 hours sleep. Works for me. It never used to work for me. I remember I used to, oh God, I'm so tired. How am I going to get to the end of the day? And then I just changed my psychology, and now 5 hours is enough. We all do this. And so I want you to start taking inventory of where you're doing this right now, where it's hindering you from taking actions or making decisions that could be advancing you where you want to go, and you're not, because you're buying into something that may not be true. Here's some screenshots of YouTube videos that I do. Dennis has seen all of these, I'm pretty sure. Maybe not all of them. I might as well tell you what they are. This is creative uses for a Christmas tree. So brushing your teeth was one of them. How to motivate yourself with a state change. I just talked about how if you do scissor kicks, then you can go from your lower self to your higher self. You're just full of energy after you do that. Dealing with this was a JV invite I did, and I don't know how that invites people to promote my launch, but it did. And then this was my first. I don't know if you remember this one, Dennis. When I first came to your forum, I said, my name is Justin. I just joined Earn 1K a Day, and I'd like to welcome everybody to 2011. Let's face our fears together. And I tobogganed down this hill that was like this long. And I was like, yes! And nobody in Dennis's forum knew who I was. They knew me after that. But here's the story. Here's the lesson. The reason I started doing things like this was because I used to care so much what people thought about me that I was actually not able to make money. I was not able to reach any level of success because I wasn't doing anything out of my fear of what people would say or think or react or judge me. And it was self-worth. I didn't have enough self-worth to do these things. And so I started creating video because people told me, hey, the personality you show us at parties and behind the scenes, nobody knows this. And I was corporatized. Like, when I was a corporate trainer, you can't act like this. But then when I became an entrepreneur, nobody said you can. But I had to kind of learn that. And I started doing things like this and realizing that, first of all, most people don't even watch the videos. They have like 300 views. But next, it's like, you do enough of this, you stop caring. I've literally created thousands of videos, sales videos, fun videos, blog videos. And where I used to hate the sound of my own voice, used to worry, what are people going to say? Do I look dumb on video? Thank you. Now I don't care. This was a little thing I did to overcome my fear of worrying what people think. And I mean, it's still there. I think we all have that to a degree. But we can deliberately start doing things that whittle away these perceived limitations that we have for ourselves. So if you have something that's blocking you, I used to be scared to send a broadcast to my list because people would reply sometimes and say, stop spamming me or whatever. Like, then unsubscribe. Like, it's not a big deal anymore. But I said, oh my God, they don't like me. They think I'm a spammer. This is awful. Who's done that? Come on. I can't be the only one. No, I know most people go. So, no, that's how I deal. You can deliberately do these things.